Textbooks always paint the same picture when telling us about the collapse of the Aztec Empire. Hernán Cortés bringing a massive civilization to its knees with superior steel swords, booming muskets, and cavalry. But what if I told you that what really destroyed one of history's greatest empires wasn't a sword, but a microscopic monster? Between 1540 and 1570, fully 80% of the Aztec population, that is, more than 15 million people, perished not by Spanish weapons, but by a mysterious disease that caused them to die bleeding from their eyes, ears, and mouths. Dismissed for centuries as smallpox, the true identity of this killer was only found in 2018, inside the teeth found in the graves of a ghost city. If you're ready, we are opening the file on history's biggest cold case, the Cocoliztli catastrophe. Post-apocalyptic silence. In 1519, the Valley of Mexico was home to approximately 22 to 25 million people. That was a massive population for that era. But by the end of the century, fewer than 1 million people remained. This wasn't just population decline. This was an apocalyptic demographic collapse. For years, historians pinned the blame solely on smallpox. Yes, smallpox dealt a heavy blow, but the real destruction came years after the conquest was complete, in 1545 and 1576. The natives called it Cocoliztli. In the Nahuatl language, this word meant pest, or, more terrifyingly, to writhe. Because those who caught this disease didn't just get sick, they died writhing in agony. So, what distinguished this disease from smallpox? 16th century medical horror, symptoms, and evidence. We have a detective on the scene, Francisco Hernandez, the personal physician to the King of Spain. He was in Mexico during the 1576 outbreak and recorded what he saw like a script for a horror movie. Hernandez's autopsy reports were spine-chilling. The disease started with a high fever and headache, followed by excruciating abdominal pain. But the most terrifying symptom was hemorrhage. Patients bled from their noses, eyes, and ears. Their tongues turned dry and black, and their urine turned green or black. Doctors were baffled. This wasn't smallpox. Smallpox causes blisters on the body. In this disease, people died within 3 to 4 days, bleeding from the inside out. Massive nodules or swellings formed behind the ears. Native sources summarize the situation like this. Fathers could not bury their sons because everyone was dead. Homes turned into tombs. DNA in teeth and the culprit's identity. Scientific solution. For centuries, the nature of this disease remained a secret. Was it Ebola, hantavirus, or plague? The answer was found in 2018 in a ghost city in the Mexican highlands called Tepozcalula, Yucunda. This place lost so many people during the 1545 epidemic that the city was abandoned and remained like a time capsule until today. Scientists from the Max Planck Institute and Harvard analyzed the teeth of 29 victims lying in mass graves there. Why teeth? Because the pulp inside the teeth is a natural vault that can preserve the blood and bacteria present at the moment of death for centuries. Using advanced DNA scanning technology called MALT, the result was shocking. The killer wasn't a virus, it was a bacterium. Salmonella enterica, paratyphi C. Yes, you heard that right. A much more deadly, typhoid-like strain of the Salmonella we know today as food poisoning. But how did this bacterium, which is treated with antibiotics in the modern world, kill millions of people by making them bleed from their eyes? Megadrought and the perfect storm. How did it spread? Here, the story shifts from biology to ecological horror. When scientists examined tree rings, they found that the mid-16th century saw one of the worst droughts in North American history. The scenario was this. Years of drought wiped out predators like snakes and owls. Then, sudden severe rains caused vegetation to boom. In an environment with no predators, rodents, specifically rats, experienced a population explosion. Millions of rats, carrying the Salmonella bacteria, invaded human living spaces, water sources, and food stores. But rats weren't the only culprits. As researchers from Stanford point out, the encomienda system established by the Spanish, essentially a system of slavery and forced labor, had physically exhausted the indigenous people. When famine, stress, unsanitary living conditions, and this new bacterium brought by the Spanish combined, the natives' immune systems collapsed. A simple bacterium combined with colonialism and climate disaster to turn into a biological weapon. In science, this is called syndemic collapse. In conclusion, The fall of the Aztecs didn't happen solely by Cortés's sword. What really destroyed them was a deadly collaboration between a microscopic traveler from across the ocean, climate change, and human cruelty. Those skeletons in Tepozcalula Yucunda tell us this: you don't need massive wars for a civilization to collapse. Sometimes, an invisible bacterium and a broken ecological balance are enough to change the course of history. If you want us to investigate more medical mysteries hidden in the dusty pages of history, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.